you ask them that, do you think that India was clean and hygienic during a Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan or now during a Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, where the voter and the public is a part of a government movement, and you will get an answer independently in any part of the country.
Right.
I think there's so many areas where we need to talk about.
Okay.
There are areas vis-a-vis the Home Department where everything cannot be disclosed, but still public wants to know what is happening vis-a-vis international issues such as border security, terrorism.
Shaina, Ankita here from the Delhi studio. I do want to take this across to the Congress as well. Jaiveer Shergill of the Congress joining us at this point. Jaiveer Shergill, the BJP making the point that, your leaders have been saying that in effect what they have done is imitation being the sincerest form of flattery and so on, taken the Congress's welfare schemes, renamed them, carried them on, and you were in fact unable to highlight your achievements in the same manner that this government seems to have done. We heard Mr. Chidambaram say that in no uncertain terms yesterday, conceding that perhaps the UPA failed to communicate the way in which the Modi government is doing now.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I am all for communication, and Congress paid a heavy price for not communicating. But when you have to address 200 rallies on the very first year, then Mr. Arun Shourie very aptly puts it, when it is said and done, then there is more said than done. The reality is this, Mr. Modi promised to turn a winter of discontent into a glorious summer, but I think the summer of 2015 is proving to be more harsh than the summer of 2014. Ms. NC gave us whole complicated statistics, figures. I can counter that, but the people of India don't eat these figures, foreign exchange reserves or anything. I have the statistics. Vegetable prices have soared by 140%. Lady finger bhindi has gone up by literally 97%. The government earned 80,000 crores from a 2.5% jump to 7% in customs duty and patrol, 4 times excise hike, 80,000 crore. Did the benefit really trickle down? The answer is a clear no. Third, Mr. Modi had a lot of passion, verbal patriotism, jingoism, and a lot of good key initiatives. Swachh Bharat, Make in India. I don't know whether the tiger will actually roar out of the paper. Supreme Court, the Supreme Court actually, in an order which is in front of me, had to wrap them. Will Ganga will be clean during our lifetime? Yes or not? Because they were unhappy about their progress. And lastly, have you ever they talked about Nari Suraksha, bahut hua Nari pe baar, ab ki baar Modi Sarkar. The Prime Minister lacked the courage, I'm sorry to use the word, to even condemn those who disrespect women. They talked about 660 rape centers. We have only seen 36. The women and child development budget has been cut by 50%. I'm sorry, if you're not decided, you want to reply to children today. How can you expect the Congress party basically stating that everything that you are hyping, one moment, Jaiveer, whatever you are hyping, they've got a counter to that. Would you like to come in over there?
I think they have no issue left, and the fact that they are only countering based on false allegations is in itself
false allegations
about the failures of the Congress government. Please let me respond now. I listen to all. He said that, our government is not sensitive towards women's causes. Let's ask them what they did. I mean, they allocated a Nirbhaya fund which never even reached anybody. There was no plan in place. Here we have 36 centers which have already been set up, where those figures obviously different to mine, the target being 600 odd. Is that not an achievement in itself in 1 year? You talked about, the big tiger roaring, etc. I want to say that if Make in India is not a dream for every Indian, where skill development is a force to reckon with, where India is going to manufacture in every sector in India, is that not an achievement? You talk about transport, where they were producing 3 kilometers road, we are producing 13 kilometers a day. 11.7 is an official statement which is given to us, and it's gone up. Now, if these are not issues that we need to communicate, I mean, we could be living in this perception versus reality battle for ages, and if the Congress is
quick
so
question there. It's interesting that you talk of manufacturing now.
Comparing 60 years to 1 year of ours. Ankita, please make me make this point. We're almost completing 60 years of their misgovernance to 1 year of our competence. And I think it's time that public realize that there can be all kinds of things which are fed to you. But the reality is that today, if there are insurance schemes, pension schemes, Jan Dhan Yojana, these are concrete, tangible issues which affect every single Indian. If there are compensation to farmers who have lost crops, these are competent, not just on paper, and this is not just superficial. It has reached every single person who is concerned.
Well, we heard a lot on the welfare schemes, particularly from the Prime Minister in that rally in Mathura yesterday, which has in fact kick-started your government's communications exercise over the next few days. But we didn't hear anything about job creation. We didn't actually hear anything from the Prime Minister on manufacturing. Why those silences?
This is not about silence, but there is a complete, you have to have skill development where people are taught, people learn, and then people manufacture. And if every answer is expected in the first year, I think that this comparison of 60 years vis-a-vis 1 year is grossly unfair. But it's important for us to communicate our vision plan and to execute it at the speed of lightning, which is what we're doing.
Okay, I just want to ask Ashok, who's been listening in very patiently, a little bit about this perception versus reality, and these were Shaina's words. Why do you believe that the government needs or feels the need to communicate at this magnitude today? What do they feel insecure at a certain stage that whatever they've tried to do, whatever they've tried to achieve is not being portrayed correctly, people are misunderstanding, or they need to reinforce this point? Why?
There could be several reasons. One, at the end of 1 year, obviously questions start being asked, what is the government doing? That's true for any government, right? Because obviously the honeymoon is over for any government. So perhaps to re-emphasize, look, we've actually done a lot, we've had a busy year, we're still on message, we're still on track. Was seen as important for a party and a leader who's so big on communication. Second, leading up to the monsoon and winter session of Parliament, you face, the Modi government faces its biggest challenge in a long time in terms of the land acquisition amendment law, which is very important for the Modi government in terms of its meeting its political challenge. It's very important for it. It feels in terms of making its urbanization dreams and its urbanization and making India manufacturing aspirations a reality. But it's also politically risky. One has to appreciate that. So, which is why I guess he's pressing on the accelerator right now. So it comes in that context.
We're talking about communication, and I need to this will interest you. Twitter has been the way in which this Prime Minister has been communicating very, very effectively for a year. A lot of people say that he needs to go beyond Twitter in a more substantial manner. Be that as it may, he tweeted this morning, and he was tweeting once every 9 odd minutes, saying that if you message me, then if you tweet me, I'm going to message you personally. So I tweeted the Prime Minister, and he sent a personal message back. When you look at the page, it says, my message on completion of 1 year of our government. Now, it seems to be that this is an impersonal sort of handout. But if you actually enter it, then it gets a little interesting. It takes there. It actually says your name, so it says Dear Vishnu. So this is some smart software at work over here, a smart designer. And so, and then he says, and then there is this message over here. But here's where it gets interesting. If you actually click over here, and I'm just going to try and do it because it takes just a moment or two for this to actually get working, then it becomes quite impressive, because this website has actually got a lot of what this government is doing, and this has all been set up to celebrate this 1 year in power. Now, if I click on this button over here, and this is what I wanted to point out, this is the foreign policy agenda of this government at the world stage. Then you can go to connecting with the diaspora, you can go to engaging with the neighbors, you can go with Come Make in India, and there are different categories of all of this. So this is a fairly impressive Twitter effort by this Prime Minister. I think one needs to reflect a little bit more on this communication effort. No government in the past has been as successful as this Modi government in communicating through new means of communication.
Well, I didn't tweet him, and I got the same personalized message with my name. Yeah. So I guess it's a general sort of outreach that PM's office.
Everybody gets that.
I have a slightly different take from what you're suggesting. I think it's excellent that Prime Ministers, leaders at every level use modern means of communication to get their point of view across. But this cannot and should not be a substitute for a more sustained interaction with the media. Right? And unfortunately, Mr. Modi and following from him, many ministers and others are using the fact that they tweet as an alibi for not meeting the press regularly, for not taking questions on the record. Like it's been a year now since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. He's given one interview to the Hindustan Times. He's taken only one live question from a journalist at the Obama-Modi joint press conference in January, and that's it. Right, so that's not healthy. I think in a democracy there are lots of questions that
Spoken more to foreign media.
But he's given 4 or 5 interviews to foreign media. Some of them are like, for example, the French one was a written interview. So the point is that he has been reticent to engage in the thrust and parry of
Perhaps we could
the kind of interview that a leader like him ought to be engaging
Perhaps we
in.
could get the BJP spokesperson to comment on that. China, and see, the point being made over here is that direct communication is all very well. It's a one-way street as far as the Prime Minister is concerned. When it comes to taking pointed questions from journalists, it's another matter entirely.
But I think, look at it in this perspective, Ankita. We have been voted to power to deliver and to deliver really fast and on various issues. The kind of work that the government is doing, and especially our Prime Minister is doing, close to 18 hours a day is a Herculean task. Even in his overseas tours, whether it's increasing, the investment which is coming into India, or just our respect and dignity in the world global scene scenario, is something which needs to be commended. And I think that if we're going to expect the Prime Minister to be giving interviews and answering questions, it will deflect from the basic agenda, which is to deliver on good governance, which is to show that yes, we're here to absolutely do good on all various angles and all segments. And I think that if Twitter and social media is not a way to communicate, it is absolutely the prerogative of the government to decide what are we doing. We are communicating.
Okay, Jaiveer Shergill, go ahead.
No, I think no, there is no dispute. Communication is important, but communication has to be complemented by real substantive work. The reality is the Twitter will not fill up stomachs or relieve the farmers of their problems or bring the prices down. That is the hard part. Now yesterday Mr. Modi's report card exactly did the same thing. Clever wordplay, not factually briefed. He spoke in length and breadth. We have done this and that for tribals. Look at your own budget. 7,700 crore is the budget cut for tribals. 30%. A basic and a good deal like NACO, the AIDS control, has been cut by 30%. I did not interrupt you.
You are only posturing your leadership.
I not catch the attention of PR events. AIDS control to 30%, midday meal scheme by 16.4%. Now today, all we are saying is the usual jibe on Congress. 60 years were bad. We are committed to do that. You already played the trump card during your elections. You provided you said we'll give you quick fixes and blunt solutions. But today, you're only hearing long speeches and new solutions. You created these expectations for the people. Each and every promise came with the expiry date. Black money was 100 days. The cleaning of the Ganga was a definitive thing. But what happened? Why is your tone and tenor?
Okay, Shaina, would you briefly like to answer that before we take a break? Go ahead, Shaina. Okay,
thank you.
Jaiveer, you made lots of points. Shaina, would you like to answer those? Go ahead.
Yes. In every single debate, the Congress goes back to black money. Despite the fact that the Supreme Court asked them to ensure that there is an SIT in place, it took them only 3 years to do nothing. We came into power and immediately the SIT was not just functional, but we also ensured that through the treaties and through the goodwill that we have with various countries, that these lists were procured. If we are not on the track to ensuring that black money is brought back and that people do not have these kind of accounts, I think that then you're in every position to dispute our intention. But in every single debate to come up with these kind of issues, and I don't understand why people have a problem with our agenda, which is only to deliver on good governance and to work hard. I mean, if you feel that half Mr. Modi's time should be wasted on giving interviews and interviews to a segment which is already strong in opinion, I think it's much better I think it's much better to be working on an agenda which helps every voter who voted us in, who wanted a stable government, who wanted strong leadership for the first time, who wanted a prime minister who
Shaina,
was
I need to
going
interrupt
be in
you
a
now.
position to be prime
I need
minister.
to-
The problem of AIDS is not a voter-specific problem.
Jaiveer and
It's a-
Shaina,
it's a
I appreciate the need, both of you feel the need to engage each other on this debate, and perhaps we'll get more time to do that. I need to take a short break now, return with the very latest. Do stay tuned.